How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another hearing homework. My name is Charlie, and today is a very special episode. I got my sunglasses on, and I've got my Bob shirt on. I wonder why. I'm not too sure either. Never mind, I'm lying. Today we're going to be talking about Bob Dylan's 1965 album, Bringing It All Back Home. So, like I usually do with these episodes, I usually listen to the album right before I do the episode just to kind of refresh my memory. I didn't do it today because I'm kind of pressed for time right now. I'm going to film this and then I got to head to my girlfriend's house, but I thought maybe I'd be able to squeeze this in because I've listened to this album a shit ton. Bob Dylan is one of my favorite artists, writers, musicians of all time, free thinkers. I've really fallen in love with his mindset about things and his attitude and his music and his songwriting. Of course, I'm not the first person to say good things about freaking Bob Dylan, one of the best artists of all time, literally. Like that, he is in discussion to be one of the best artists of just life. He's a once-in-a-lifetime dude. And I really fell in love with his stuff early senior year of high school. So it hasn't seemed that long from maybe your guys' perspective, but for me it's felt so long. Like it's felt like I've lived with loving Bob Dylan's music for at least half a decade, because I checked out so much of it, and I've just kind of completely given myself over to him, and what he has to say, his writing, and just giving him a lot of money too, because I have a bunch of his albums on vinyl, and I thought starting on Bringing It On Back Home is a pretty necessary way to start. I usually I googled the philosophy that I was thinking about last episode, where it was taking a work of art at its core, or just as it is, no outside history or anything. It's called new criticism, and I try to incorporate that in these episodes, but sometimes the history is so important that I just have to touch upon it before I dive into the music. So that's why sometimes 10 minutes into the episode, I still haven't even talked about a single song off of an album. But with Bob Dylan, and obviously with being a music fan, history is huge. Like, you got to know what years shit came out. You're going to know the artist's prime, their life, who they were married to, who they were seeing, who they were collaborating with, who they were producing for. All that shit is very important to just get a better perspective of what music that they're creating. And with Bob Dylan, 1965, of course, most people already know because of the Timothée Chalamet movie, but he was a folk artist at first, just him and a acoustic guitar and harmonica. That's what his first few albums are. And I'll get to those soon as well, in hearing homework. But I think this is a perfect album to start with, because to me, it almost seemed right in the middle of his folk era and his electric era. Even though this album is kind of his first dive, his first look into official electric music, as in electric guitar, not just full band shit. Bringing It All Back Home was kind of the official start. Of course, before this came out, maybe most people might not know, he came out with the singles like Mr. Tambourine Man, and he also came out with Subterranean Homesick Blues, and I will talk about those in a little bit. But the point is, the fans who loved his folk shit and his acoustic stuff were really, really, really put off by this thing you're looking at right here. What it sounded like, people hated it. Most people hated it. At least most Bob Dylan fans hated it at the time. It gravitated to a lot of newer fans, or newer people who became fans, because original Bob Dylan fans were used to his folk songs, his stripped back focus on his songwriting and his singing. And when he brought in a big blues band to play some of his songs, it put a lot of people off. A lot of people didn't dig it. A lot of people thought he was selling out because of the whole band thing. Like, it's like, why can't you been doing it yourself for so long? Why do you need a band all of a sudden? Da 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 da. Calling him Judas. Betrayal. Betrayal was such a huge part because Bob Dylan connected with so many young people at the time. So to see an artist that is so close to them almost betray them really hurt, obviously, but that's where you kind of have to step back, get out of your disillusionment, your parasocialism, and say, hey, Bob Dylan is a dude. He just makes music. He's really good at it. He's really good at writing, and that's his jive. That's his thing. That's his groove, and people will take that as they will. But anyway, the first time I listened to this was our early senior year, and I wasn't a big fan of it, primarily because I started with, it wasn't the first album I started with. I'm taking my sunglasses off for a second, because you can't see my eyebrows, I look weird. Look at my Bob shirt, is that cool? This is him in this era too. What was I saying? I started with Blonde on Blonde, which I also didn't really like first listen, and we will kind of get to that. Here, I'm going to bring the camera up a little bit. And we're going to get to Blonde on Blonde, obviously. But with Bringing It All Back Home, I don't remember in which order I listened to Bob Dylan's albums in. But with this one, I wasn't super impressed. I don't remember really coming away and having loved it. But my love and appreciation for it has only grown. It's still not my favorite Bob Dylan album. I'm not going to say my favorite Bob Dylan album because it kind of changes every month or so. But I still really, this is still a very endearing work of art to me. It is so important. You can't ignore the specialty factor of it. It is such a huge piece of history in 60s music, 60s rock and roll, and music history as a whole. People still talk about his performance at the folk festival in, where was it? Rhode Island, New Hampshire, or Newport Folk Festival. He had played in 1964 with just himself, but in 1965 he brought out a blues band that included Mike Bloomfield of Butterfield Blues Band fame on guitar. And if you've seen the footage, he fucking rips. He is loud. All the performances are amazing from that concert. But he was booed, man. People didn't like it. People came for folk. It's a folk festival, and he's playing electric music. But yeah, it really put a lot of people off. But that's why it is just so important in the history of music. And Bob Dylan is a huge figure in the history of music as well. Okay, I'm going to talk about the songs now. The album opener is Subterranean Homesick Blues. Now, it was a single, and some could argue that it is the first rap song, almost, because I'm joking, but he's singing really fast, and he's spitting so much at you, so much wordplay and poetry. He says, Johnny's in the basement, mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement, thinking about the government. Shoot, I can't fucking remember the lyrics when I'm recording. Johnny's in the basement, mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement, thinking about the government. The man in the... oh, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna pause real quick. Okay, for the life of me, I can't remember the next lyrics, but he also goes, the man in the coonskin cap at the pig pen wants $11 bills, but you only got 10. That is just, I wish it fucking came with the lyric sheet. I can't believe a Bob Dylan album doesn't come with the lyric sheet, but it also encourages the listener to really listen, and apparently I can't do that, but I'm just really bad at reciting lyrics on film for some reason. I swear to God, the song is catchy as hell. Subterranean and Homesick Blues, amazing. Really, it's short too. It's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Um, um, the pumps, the Vandals took the handles, something like that. Fuck! I'm disappointed in myself. I should have listened to it before I reviewed. But trust me, it's an amazing song. Um, Damn it, I'm so disappointed in myself. I almost don't want to continue, but I got to. I'm in too deep. The second song, She Belongs to Me, is a nice love song. She's got everything she needs. She's an artist. She don't look back. It's a very sweet song to come off of the really rockin' Subterranean and Homesick Blues. Fleet Foot went to the flat magnet to send it. Many say once come to early May. Something from the DA. Look out, kid. Don't matter what you did. God knows when, but you're doing it again. You better jump down the alleyway. Looking for a new friend, man, in a coonskin cap with the pig pen. Wants $11 bills, but you only got 10. Okay, that's it. That's from Subterranean and Homesick Blues. I'm not singing nothing else from that song. She Belongs to Me is a really sweet love song. It's basically about Bob's lover, whoever he's talking about, just kind of deeming this lover as almost like a princess. She's got an Egyptian ring. It sparkles before she speaks. When you see her, when you kneel down, peeking through a keyhole, down upon your knees. Yeah, it's a really sweet song. Very, it's kind of somber too. It's not sad. It's a light song too. It's kind of, it's sparkly. It's jangly kind of. It's a really, really lovely song. Maggie's Farm is Bob super pissed off. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. He's just really pressing outside forces, people who were kind of putting him in a musical box at the time. He's basically saying, I don't work for your farm. He hands me a nickel, he hands me a dime, he asks me with a grin if you're having a good time. He says, sing while you slave and I just get bored. Sing while you slave, but I just get bored. He don't give a fuck. He's gonna keep doing what he wants to do. Thought someone got in a crash. I don't know if you heard the skirt. But yeah, Maggie's Farm, rockin' blues number. I wouldn't say it's blues. It's just a rockin' number. He leans more into the blues sound on songs like On the Road Again. That's kind of just a straight up blues jam. Melodically, it's just that classic chord progression and rhythm. But yeah, Maggie's Farm is really a home run. Like, it's one of his most clear songs, best written songs to me. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's Farm no more. She hands me a nickel, she hands me a dime. I can't think of any more lyrics. But yeah, magnificent song. It's fast paced too. It really rips. I love that song. Love Minus Zero No Limit is another really sweet acoustic number. And his live performances of that song is really great too. Outlaw Blues. I love the opening line of Outlaw Blues is, ain't it hard to stumble and land in some muddy lagoon? And that's one of my favorite Bob Dylan opening lines ever. But honestly, Bob Dylan's 115th Dream already goes up against that, where he says, I was riding on a Mayflower when I thought I spied some land. I yelled to Captain Arab, I heard you understand. Said, boy, forget the whip. Bob Dylan's 115th Dream is a story. It is about Bob Dylan and his, I guess, pirate crew. We only get the name of one specific member, Captain Arab, and he gets like shipped off halfway through the song. But Bob Dylan's character kind of crash lands in what he calls America, and there are just so many quotable lines in that song about him in a phone booth talking on the phone and someone's foot coming through the line. A bowling ball knocks him to his feet, it just knocks him over. he's just so clever. Some of it is satire. He's so funny. He has such a nice sense of humor. And Bob Dylan's 115th Dream is a really great showcase of that. It's another fast-paced album or song too. It's one I think super underrated. Not a lot of people talk about it. I also love at the beginning of the song where he starts to sing and he has to do over because I don't know, the producer behind the booth starts laughing. They both start fucking cracking up because what he's singing about is so funny. Specifically with that song, at the end, Bob Dylan's character, the narrator of the song, he meets when he's leaving America. He sees Christopher Columbus on his way to America, and he gets off his ship. And he just tells him good luck. So it's so funny because it's like Bob Dylan replacing himself as Christopher Columbus. It's so witty how he's telling Christopher Columbus good luck because he just found America. It's so funny. I really love that song. On the Road Again is a really nice blues number. I've already mentioned that. And that's the end of side one. Side one is where he is what I would deem his electric side on this album, side A. Side B is 4 songs, and they're all acoustic. They're like, they're kind of styled as his folkier tunes, but there's usually a bass track and a very light electric guitar track, which really adds super sweetly, super nicely to his playing and what he's singing about. Mr. Tambourine Man, that is a classic, iconic Bob Dylan song. I'm branded on my feet, I have no one to meet. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. That chorus is amazing. Just a really great song, really solid song. I don't know what he's singing about. A lot of people think he's singing about a drug trip, but I think it's just him experiencing what it feels like to be an unknown. And obviously he will make another song that really prioritizes that feeling in a much bigger sound. But just walking the empty streets, too dead for dreaming. Oh, so many lovely lines. He's such a brilliant writer. You really just gotta listen. You gotta listen to what he's singing, what he's saying. I love Mr. Tambourine Man. It's jangly, his playing, and the electric guitar tracks that back up these last 4 songs are so pleasant. They're so nice. I don't know who plays. That's the thing. There's no personnel listed on the song. I guess I should talk about the physical release. I'm going to read all of this because you guys need to hear it, just in case you guys don't have a copy yourselves. We have Bob Dylan and his muse at the time, Joan Baez. Bob Dylan and a cop. I think this is Allen Ginsberg without a beard. He looks more normal. This is him slumped over with this woman. Her hand is on his head. Just a lot of really sick. I love this one with him in the top hat and his really funny, like, smug look. I love that photo. But yeah, the last side, all acoustic, Mr. Tambourine Man is great. Gates of Eden isn't one I really come back to a lot, but it's also, you can just tell how well it's written just by the confidence in what he sings. As long as you're a singer and what you're singing is confident, it'll make your writing and whatever you're singing about appear like 10 times better because it's like a conviction. It feels like a cathartic relief or release. And the audience members feel it. They feel it. All you got to do is just sing with power and confidence. Even if your words don't, you can sing about anything. Gates of Eden is great. It's Alright Ma, I'm Only Bleeding. What a fucking overload of wordplay, imagery, just poetry. It really is. The opening lines on that song are also iconic. Darkness at the break of doom, shadows on even the silver spoon, the handmade blade and the child's balloon eclipses both the sun and moon. what you understand, you know too soon. There is no sense of trying. And this is also the song where he says the line, too busy being born than busy dying, which is, that's how it goes. Too busy being born and busy dying. So good. There's just so many quotable lines on all of these songs, but It's Alright Ma, I'm Only Bleeding. The structure is really unique. It's that refrain of, it's alright Ma, I'm only sighing. And I think it goes on like 7 times, I think there's 7 verses. But it's really up for interpretation with what he's really talking about. And at this point, it's not really about what he's singing about. It's about what you feel, what you think about when you're hearing him sing these words. There is this famous interview in 1965. It's a press conference. And he talks about when he says the word house, everybody thinks of a different house. Like, nobody has the same definition of what a house is. And you really have to take that mindset and apply it to these songs, because one person can listen to the entire lyrics of Mr. Tambourine Man, that entire song, and will think it's about a drug trip. That's why so many people have. But you can also take it as it is, and it's just a man singing about just trudging along this smoky atmosphere, just experiences, just stories, just lines, and maybe there are no dots to connect together. I think that's a better mindset, because you're not setting yourself up for anything. It's Alright Ma is loaded of just, I've already said it, but just imagery. It makes you think about so much. And in that sense, you kind of have to put things together, put kind of pieces together. But you really can't find meaning to it, because that almost defeats the magic. That's another thing. There's such magic to these songs. I also think Bob Dylan's vocal style really plays a huge role in these songs. I think a lot of people, a big, what's the word? A thing a lot of people say is Bob Dylan's vocals, how they're just not really appetizing to the ear. They don't sound nice, but they're really not really, I mean, they're not meant to, I feel like. You really have to look at his vocals as just part of his lyrics and part of his songwriting. He's not really trying to show off. He's just trying to get these words out and make you think. It's Alright Ma is amazing. And the last song, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, is one of my personal favorite Bob Dylan songs ever. I did an acoustic set of my own a while ago, a couple years ago, at an old place I worked, an old Vietnamese restaurant. And I closed out my set with a cover of that song. Though it wasn't a really good cover, I still really connect with the song. It's all over now, baby blue. All you seasick sailors, they're all rowing home. Your empty army are all going home. The lover who just walked out your door has taken all the blankets from your floor. Just, there's so many amazing lines off that song. Just, I could think about it for hours. I wish I could read to you the lyrics, but in fact, let's read the back of this album. Bob Dylan, especially his early releases, has a lot of just prose on the back of his album sleeves. This is the one for Bring It All Back Home. He says, I'm standing there watching the parade, feeling combination of Sleepy John Estes, Jane Mansfield, Humphrey Bogart, Mortimer Snerd, Murph the Surf, and so forth. Erotic hitchhiker wearing Japanese blanket. Gets my attention by asking, didn't he see me at the hootenanny down in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico? I say, no, you must be mistaken. I happen to be one of the Supremes. Then he rips off his blanket and suddenly becomes a middle-aged druggist, up for district attorney. He starts screaming at me, "You're the one. You're the one that's been causing all the riots over in Vietnam." Immediately turns to a bunch of people and say if elected, he'll have me electrocuted publicly on the next 4th of July. I look around and all these people he's talking to are carrying blowtorches. Needless to say, I split fast, go back to the nice quiet country, and standing there writing, "What?" on my favorite wall when who should pass by in a jet plane but my recording engineer. "I'm here to pick up you and your latest works of art. Do you need any help with anything?" And then there's a, in parentheses, pause. Then Bob Dylan writes, "My songs are written with a kettle drum in mind and a touch of any anxious color, unmentionable, obvious, and people perhaps like a soft Brazilian singer. I've given up at making any attempt at perfection. The fact that the White House is filled with leaders that have never been to the Apollo Theater amazes me. Why Allen Ginsberg was not chosen to read poetry at the inauguration boggles my mind. If someone thinks Norman Mailer is more important than Hank Williams, that's fine. I have no arguments, and I never drink milk. I would rather model harmonica holders than discuss Aztec anthropology, English literature, or history of the United Nations. I accept chaos. I am not sure whether it accepts me. I know there are some people terrified of the bomb, but there are other people terrified to be seen carrying a modern screen magazine. Experience teaches that silence terrifies people the most. I am convinced that all souls have some superior to deal with, like the school system, an invisible circle of which no one can think without consulting someone. In the face of this, responsibility and security. Success means absolutely nothing. I would not want to be Bach, Mozart, Tolstoy, Joe Hill, Gertrude Stein, or James Dean. They're all dead. The great books have been written. The great sayings have all been said. I'm about to sketch you a picture of what goes on around here sometimes, though I don't understand too well myself what's really happening. I do know that we're all going to die someday, and that no death has ever stopped the world. My poems are written in a rhythm of unpoetic distortion, divided by pierced ears, false eyelashes, and subtracted by people constantly torturing each other, with a melodic purring line of descriptive hollowness, seen at times through dark sunglasses and other forms of psychic explosion. A song is anything that can walk by itself, and I am called a songwriter. A poem is a naked person. Some people say that I am a poet." And then the pause that I mentioned previously stops. Then he continues, "And so I answered my recording engineer, 'Yes, well, I could use some help in getting this wall in the plane.'" This is one of my favorite prose on any Bob Dylan album, primarily because it's easy to understand compared to shit that's on like Highway 61 Revisited, and even some sides of Bob Dylan, or another side of Bob Dylan. It's much more direct, where in between his pauses, he just dives into how he writes and why he writes and what he expects to get from writing, and being a songwriter. And if you know Bob Dylan, you know getting a peek into his mindset about those three things I just mentioned is near impossible. So the fact that he has it written on the back of one of his albums, one, makes sense, and two, not a lot of people, I guess, will know today, and three, it just adds to his mystery that in all the interviews that he's had, especially in the 60s, he was so vague, so sarcastic, but here it's almost like we have an answer, which you would think would defeat sort of the magic that comes with Bob Dylan's writing, but he has become such a important figure in music that any answer we get doesn't destroy anything. In fact, it kind of makes him seem more like a legend. So just this prose of his mind is so important and so cool to me. And yeah, that's bringing it all back home. I'll show off my copy. I ordered it from somewhere in the UK. Mine is a CBS pressing, or I don't know, is it a Columbia? Because I know he was signed to the Warner Brothers, apparently. CBS of Warner Brothers. I thought he was on Columbia at this time. I don't know what pressing I have. But yeah, fantastic album. Bob Dylan, I can't say enough about him. I can't wait to talk about his other albums, where maybe I'll actually remember the lyrics. I need to fucking write shit down so I don't forget. But yeah, this is bringing it all back home. This is your guys' hearing homework. If you guys like folk rock, if you guys like Neil Young, if you guys like any type of 60s music, even 70s music, if you guys like music at all, listen to this album or a Bob Dylan album from the 60s. That's all I have to say. I hope I haven't overstayed my welcome, but Bob Dylan is just one of those guys that you kind of have to talk about. But yeah, that's all I have to say. The next one I'll talk about, I'm not going to spoil it. I was gonna spoil it, but I'm not going to anymore. Yeah, this is your hearing homework. Thank you guys for watching.